$18.4 billion gone. I just discovered the biggest scam in healthcare technology. An $18.4 billion market exploited without supervision. 50 plus platforms, millions of victims, and one massive lie. Let me take you inside. Alright, let's get into it. 52 platforms, over 2,500 reviews, and every single holistic practitioner is falling for the same trap. Now, what I found in this video will shock you, and it might even save your practice. And look, I didn't really want to disrupt or expose an entire industry. I was consulting a client in that specific industry, and I was simply trying to look for a solution, and I kept trying, and simply nothing worked, and every time I looked, it got even worse. And I simply couldn't find a solution that was a perfect match. Everyone tried to sell to everyone, or at least close to, and that should in the first place be the first red flag. And in this video, I'm going to present some other red flags that you can follow to never fall for the same trap that I almost fell into with my client. And I'm even going to present the 4 major scam frameworks that these tools and platforms use to keep you trapped in their system. So what did I do? I did what I thought was right, and I went down a rabbit hole, and oh boy, it was a deep one. I researched so many platforms, so many different reviews, and I even tried a few myself just to get under the skin of these different platforms. And again, what I found wasn't surprising. What I discovered simply just wasn't bad software. It was an exploitation system that these businesses use on practitioners on a daily basis. Every single platform makes the same kind of promise, and all the platforms over-promises and under-delivers by a mile. Businesses that promises all-in-one solutions. I'm going to transform your clinic. Let's do this, let's do that. This is going to be a simple integration without any headaches. The data transfer is easy. All those lies cuddled up into one big promise. But here's what they don't tell you in those glossy and perfect demos. Reviews like, "Please help, we are growing. 21 patients cancelled yesterday after Larry B assisted. Last month we lost $200,000 because of this after an update in March." Or like this terrible service, been using it for a year. Every week there is a bug issue and PEBAU deny it and blame it on the client. Or like this one, "We are paying them to lose money. The arrogance of them to acknowledge this and tell you too bad is crazy. Additionally, it's layered and complicated and limited in what it can do." These aren't isolated incidents. This is the business model. And this is really where the reality hit for me whenever I was researching both reviews and even trying them myself. How quick you can come into these traps and essentially just stay there, because you can't really do anything about it unless you know how to. Now, why are these companies actually doing this? Like, why are they promising and under-delivering, and why are they even in business if they are so bad? And let me be honest here, they have a lot of ups. Of course, it's not all bad, but the downs just outweigh the ups by a mile because they have the opportunity to trap you. You see, these companies don't really profit by solving your problems. They profit from complexity, dependency, and locking you in. The more confused and trapped you are, the more they make. That's a simple equation, and that's the tough reality for a ton of these practitioners. Here's exactly how they trap you, with these 4 categories that every platform uses. Let's go through them together, and let me talk a little bit about how to look through them, how to avoid them, and how to detect them in time, and even how to get out of them. So the first scam framework is the feature overload. with 500 plus features, and the practice is simply just using maximum 8. This is marketed and branded as we have 500 plus features and everything you'd ever need. But in reality, it again adds complexity, dependency, and you pay for something that you use a fraction of. The simple reality is that you pay for all the features and you use 12 of them yourself. Alright, let's go to the next scam framework. This I'm calling the integration hell. And this is actually the scam that they hide the most. They don't usually show it in the front end. They usually make the promises that it's going to be easily integrated, effortlessly integrated without headaches. And again, that's simply not the truth whenever you go a little bit deeper. And the reality, nothing really talks to each other. You don't get to integrate what you want to integrate. You get to integrate what they think that you want to integrate. And everything breaks all the time. And the worst thing about this, and the one thing that you are getting trapped in and being forced to pay for, is all the hidden fees that they forget to mention. You can look at custom integrations that can be from $5,000 to $15,000 depending on complexity and scale. And if you just look at simple third-party solutions that could be talking to your integration that you actually want to use, they will be $100 to $500 a month per integration. And in some cases, if you look at equipment replacement, you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars more than you initially thought you were going to invest with this business. And the saddest thing about this is that they know these integrations doesn't work. They see the error messages, they see the bad reviews, and they even see your support feedback. But they sell them anyway, because once you've paid, you are committed and you have to pay for the fixes. And the fixes won't be on them, it will be on you. Now, let's jump into one of my favorite scam frameworks of this video, the training trap. This is the scam framework where they promise effortless workflows, effortless integration, ease of use, but in reality, you need to be trained and you need to spend resources and time for you and your employees, where you get to a point where it's actually easy to use. And the reality is that you might not even get there. They promise intuitive interface, easy to learn, but in reality, it's 40 plus hours of training. And even after that, you're still having to learn in front of your patients. And that's not professional, it's not comfortable, and it leaves a sour taste in your and your patient's mouth. Now, let's just end off with a little bombshell that I really want to share with you. Epic, the industry leader, requires 6 months of training, 3 full-time employees, and a $50,000 investment just to get trained to be good enough to use their platform. Alright, with that bombshell and the first 3 scam frameworks out of the way, let me go to the 4th one and thereby the last scam framework these healthcare practices use against you as their customer. And this scam framework I'm calling the vendor lock-in. And the promise is the data is always accessible for you, and it is while you're using the platform, but whenever you don't want to use it anymore, it's going to cost you everything you have to get the data from that company. And after those quick reviews, let's just have a good look at our good friend Epic again. Epic simply has a data monopoly on you. Epic, which is used by 38% of hospitals, not to mention the small practices, 38% of hospitals, deliberately blocks out data sharing with their competitors, and they even have you pay to export your own data. What does this mean? This simply means that you are not allowed to share data with their competitors, and you're not allowed without paying to export your own data from that software. So what does an exit from a software actually cost in reality? Now, with all of these different tools and frameworks and everything we've just gone through, with all of them in our mind now, let's go through the financial reality of your practice if you are in one of these scenarios. And I'm going to show you the real numbers, not just speculated numbers, but numbers that I found through my 2,500 plus analysis of reviews from all of these types of platforms. And whenever we look at the annual waste analysis, this is where it gets ridiculous. We have small practices losing $50,000 a year, medium practices losing $100,000 a year, and large practices losing 150 and way beyond that as well per year. So these costs in terms of the hidden fees gets kind of ridiculous. We have the setup, which is $5,000 to $15,000, which is just a high upfront annual impact. Then we have the training, which is per user, per employee, $200 to $500. We have the integration fees per connection, $100 to $300 per month, and you at least would need a few if you look at the traditional clinic. Then you have the support beyond basic. Those will be $200 to $600 a month, and the data migration, which is again a one-time fee, but it's very high switching costs at around $2,000 to $8,000. And of course the compliance updates, which you have to pay for all year around. So whenever we look at this, we can see an average practice spends 60 to 143% more than the advertised pricing. We also see that an open dental user lost $200,000 in 1 month from verified reviews on their review pages. And we can even see that ServiceTitan charged $23,000 upwards of $24,000 for early termination. So over the 2,500 reviews analyzed, 95% reports that costs exceeds expectations, and the average overage of the initial pricing is 89%. So let's just run through the key metrics here. I've analyzed 52 platforms, 2,500 plus reviews. The average cost overrun is almost 90%. The practices reporting hidden fees is upwards of 95%. The conservative annual waste is between $50,000 and $150,000. And the most expensive documented loss is the $200,000 within 1 month on Open Dental. And after looking at all of that, the sad reality is that you're paying for enterprise level expertise, you're paying for enterprise level software, but you're getting basic functionality. It's like buying a Ferrari and then up driving a Toyota, or buying a Ferrari, having it sit in the garage because it doesn't work, and having to use your own bicycle instead. You pay for enterprise level features, support and integrations, but you get simple scheduling, simple billing and broken connections. Now, it isn't just you that are getting scammed, and that's really why I ended up making this video, because of people like yourself. But it's an $18.4 billion market, and each and every one of these businesses are getting scammed by these vendors. And now you are probably wondering, if this is so obvious, why is no one talking about it? Why is no one doing anything about it? Or why is people still using these platforms? And for that, we have 4 reasons. The first reason is the lack of information. You are simply an expert in helping and healing people. You're not an expert at evaluating softwares. They are an expert in selling the softwares, but not actually solving your problems. So when someone knows something that you don't, and their income depends on keeping it that way, you're not really getting a fair deal here. The second one is the demo deception. Sales demos use perfect scenarios, perfect data, the best case solutions without any real world complexity within them. And the implementation reality is hidden in these demos and will only come to the surface whenever you are actually behind the paywall and having to do it yourself because of lack of training, broken integrations and everything we've talked about. And the sales tactics are disgusting. They use a handcrafted demo database where you don't see the import migration nightmares. They used rehearsed user stories where you don't see the real workflow complexity. They only show working parts where you don't see the broken or missing functions. They show high performance environment, but you don't see the shared production reality. They show trained presenter where you don't see how a staff learning curve is actually like. They show everything works out of the box. You don't really see the months of configuration you actually need to do. They show linear happy path demos where you don't see the real world exceptions and errors. The third part is the regulatory pressure, where you need your HIPAA compliance, you need your meaningful use requirements, and you need a software fast. And that urgency is exactly what these vendors use against you as a practitioner. So, as you can imagine, they use all of these in the sales script. They create fear. Are you HIPAA compliant? This creates uncertainty and doubt. They use urgency. Deadlines are approaching, which create time pressure. They use isolation. You're the only one not compliant. This triggers the social proof aspect. They use solution monopoly. We're the only certified option. This creates scarcity. What if you don't get into this group? They use price justification. Fines costs more than our software, which is them using the loss aversion trigger. They use closing pressure. This offer expires at midnight, which triggers the FOMO aspect of your mind. And the fourth one is the sunk cost fallacy. Once you've invested in your $20,000 plus or even a little bit less, it doesn't really matter, in a broken system, switching just seems impossible because you have to pay for another one that might also not work, and it might even be very, very tough to switch because of data transfers, because of compliances, and because of contracts that simply lock you in place for a long amount of time. So what you're doing is throwing good money at bad solutions, and that can be super tough to spot, but it is possible to spot. Even though it might be possible to find these problems in these solutions before purchasing, it can be very, very hard if you only look at reviews. I've seen multiple reviews and multiple articles talking about people getting paid credits on their accounts to leave a good review. So the game is rigged from the beginning. But Daniel, what can we actually do? And I'm going to answer that because I simply don't want you to fall in these kind of traps, paying for something that is simply not working and having to pay more to make it work or to get out of it. So there is a few things you can do. Now, what you actually need in a service is simple and transparent pricing with no hidden fees and definitely no feature bloat, so you have to pay for features you simply don't use. You need real integration that actually works right out of the box after purchasing. You need genuine support from people that actually knows the ins and outs of the software and can actually help you in a good time frame. And the most important part for a practice that deals with human data, you need full data freedom. It's your data in your control at all times. And this is why I'm seeing people moving away from these big vendors and over to custom tailored solutions specifically for their practice. You get to choose exactly what you need, exactly what you are wanting in your software, in your system. You get full support with people that actually knows what the system is about because they built it. And you get full data freedom because it's within your own cloud integrated with your business exclusively. And let me show you why tailored solutions always will beat one size fits all. A tailored solution will be able to create a perfect workflow match where you get 40% faster operations. For example, your check-in processes works exactly like you want it to. You get no feature bloat, 60% less complexity because it's only what you want. You only will get tools that you actually use. You also will own this software yourself, and by extension your team will own it, which will create an 80% faster adoption rate because it's not a crazy complex system. The staff helped design it, they helped give inputs. You're also allowing yourself to actually grow. You get unlimited flexibility. You can add features as you grow. You can build new things as you grow alongside with the partner that actually designs and creates this. Then you get data independence, 100% control at all times. It's your data, it's your servers. And let's quickly go over why owning always beats renting. If you rent software, you pay rent forever. The cost increases annually. The vendor controls features. It's hard to leave. Their data format is not how you want it. They have their priorities, you have yours, and their support schedule might not fit you. If you own everything, you build equity in your practice, you build value compounds over time, you control everything, you have complete freedom always. It's your data, it's your format, how you like it. You have your priorities that just works with this platform, and your team knows the system, so they don't need regular support. So what does that mean? And isn't that crazy expensive? And the answer is yes and no. The answer is also, it depends. It depends on who you speak to. It depends on if they are modern or outdated. So let's go through what you can actually save on a tailored solution. Even though it can be expensive, this is a very realistic scenario, and I've even seen them cheaper than this if you are a newer practice. So a vendor software usually costs $25,000 a year in the first year, and then it might cost $20,000 a year upon that. So the 5-year total will be $105,000. A premium vendor will usually be more, 45 the first year, 35 year 2 to 5 afterwards, which will be $185,000. A tailored solution, because you own it, will be $30,000 up front. It might have a $5,000 a year service cost, because they can keep on servicing you, optimizing you, and actually help you along the way. So the 5-year total here is $50,000. This means that we get a 52% lower cost than basic vendor software. We get a 70% lower cost than premium vendors. We get complete ownership of our system, and we get no vendor login ever. We get unlimited scalability without licensing fees. So a tailored solution will always beat a vendor solution in my opinion, because you own everything, and that's the biggest step up that you can ever do as a practice. Because this means that we actually can use the booming phenomenon called artificial intelligence. Not to run your practice, not to be a receptionist, but to build these systems easy, fairly cheap, and with highly customizable opportunity. And this is something that more and more people are going into. This is something that a lot of practitioners and a lot of clinics are jumping right into because of these horror stories, nightmare cases, nightmare scenarios. They're actually moving towards a new and emerging opportunity that is highly tailored, highly customizable, specifically to your practice solution that these modern businesses can provide, because of the use of AI and other things which I'm not going into because it's too complicated. But this could be a solution for your practice. And the biggest reason for that actually being a solution is because you are in control. You get to talk to these people that are building it for you. You get to pick and choose and even get consulted on what you actually do need in your business and what you simply just won't need for quite some time at least. So this is an opportunity that I would look towards if I was a practitioner right now, either starting out, looking to relocate, or simply looking to modernize my clinic. Now, with everything gone through, the lies exposed, the 4 scam frameworks that these vendors use on a daily basis on practitioners, and even with the new opportunity that might be a solution or a possible solution for your business, I'm going to call out for your help, because this video is just the beginning. It's the top of the rabbit hole. It's the first video that I'm making on this, and I need your stories. I need your insights. I need you to warn other people about this scam that is going on in this industry. And If you like this video and you want to see the next parts and even everything else that I'm going to post, I would highly appreciate if you subscribed, like this video, do whatever you need to do to get this to as many people as possible that might actually need it. And down in the description, I even linked a download link to all my research for this video, so you can look through it yourself, look through all the data, all the sources that I actually used for this video to know it's not just BS, it's actually real, and even to send to other people so they get the value out of it as well. And lastly, with your story, I want you to document your evidence. Document the horror stories so you can actually prove them to either me or simply the other practitioners that you get to warn before they are getting too deep into this. Because look, every day this continues just means more people, more practitioners getting trapped in this trap. And more patients suffer from these insufficient systems that simply won't serve either the practitioner or their patients. And the brutal truth is that more practices will fail. But together, we can actually do real change. We can force these vendors to actually do something good for their clients, because we can make them lose a lot of clients so they can see the importance of this, all while building meaningful opportunities for real businesses and real practitioners. The $18.4 billion industry has been getting away with this for decades, but now you know the truth. Hopefully a ton of other people know the truth, and hopefully you will share this with someone that you actually know that can get value out of this as well. And the question is, what are you going to do about it?